single schools go and meet another single boys school and like they do like a party and you guys
Yeah,
get to do
yeah,
that? Tell me about that because I never experienced it. I never
yeah.
went to a single school.
Oh, oh my God. There was always a difference when there was, when the boys had arrived in school. Like the school would get so disorganized. Kids are making like noise. There is such excitement. You could tell that there are boys in school. There's always a difference between excitement for boys and excitement for Kadanke. There was a difference. So, so whenever boys were in school, people would always want to wear those short, go for short wrappers or short
Yeah.
skirts, and then you want moving up and down so the boys get to see.
So you can
They get
impress
to
the
see
boys.
you. Yeah, you pay for functions worth 30,000 for just a day, just to go and be with the boys, and then wait for mail the next time. For example, if you get one and then you make some relations, you get to talk. People are always expecting you to receive mail the next day or the next week. So if you do not get, it definitely shows you've been dumped.
Mujevale, Mujevale, Mujevale. My name is Bani Kibuka, and welcome to another episode of the Ugandan Ball Talk Show. Hey, what's up?
I'm okay. I disappeared for some time.
Why did you disappear?
I had an internship going on, and I didn't have time to record. Number one. Second, I thought I would check my account to see what I normally post.
Yeah.
And so to say, if I had to pause for some time, I had to pause for some time and wait till it's done. Yeah.
How is school? Oh, you did say you're in school, right?
Yeah, I mean my last semester. We have just started, so I can't really tell. We're from holiday. So
okay. All right.
I can't really tell.
Before I ask you a lot of questions, I want you to tell our listeners your name, because I can't pronounce your first name, or like whatever people call last name.
Okay, there are two names. The one that I use on my socials, I use Victoria Ntahompagaze.
Ntahompagaze.
Victoria Ntahompagaze. You don't pronounce the T.
Okay, the T is silent.
Yeah, it is silent. But that's like my family name, but it's not on my official documents. I just use it as for people to stop asking me questions. My official names are Victoria Sophie Birungi.
Victoria Sophie Birungi. I mean, people to stop asking you questions. Now I'm going to ask you questions.
The reason that's why I'm saying people are asking me so many questions is because of the name Birungi, yes? Because it belongs to the Western culture, the Baganda use it as well. So it's like when you tell someone, okay, you're Birungi, they want to get to know more about where you come from. Okay?
Right.
And it gets there always have to answer those questions. Where do you come from? Why are you called Birungi? Why didn't your parents call you this and that? So
that's why I'm gonna ask you on a podcast. So because our listeners might have the same questions, like why did you choose Birungi and not go with the other name? How did that come up?
The name, my dad is from Rwanda.
Okay,
his origin is from Rwanda, though he was born here in Uganda. So that's his name. So I decided to take it on. Which I thought some would get to know the origin just by the pronunciation or by the look at the name. That is why I had to take on that name. So there were less questions.
So the obviously I told you in the beginning I can't pronounce that name. But now I know Ntahompagaze. So if you say the T is silent, why don't you just take out the T? Like, why do you even write it?
It's the way it is. like there is this one, this artist is called Andy Bumuno, but there is T. It's just the way, it's not just the way the pronunciation is. They do not pronounce the T. N and T, they don't pronounce the T.
I thought that thing is only like in America where they write things and then they say, oh, this is silent. Like there's something called the Blonny. Blonny, when I say it, it's you can spell it a different way, but there's a G in it. But like it's kind of like Blogana. So if you write it with a G, you kind of say like Blogana, but like it's Blonny, but there's a G. I'm like, that's confusing. So that's the same way I said, like, you should just take out the T and just say NA.
Take out the T. British don't also put the T.
Okay.
They skip the T.
All right, Victoria. I'm so happy to have you on my podcast. I've wanted to have you on the podcast for a long time. Some of the things like I like to inspire a lot of people, and I feel happy when I see people doing the same thing I do, like doing podcasts. No matter what level you're on, when you're just studying or you have like 10 listeners or you have 1 million listeners, when I see somebody doing a podcast, I just get happy and encouraged because we're all trying to do the same thing. So I'm happy that you do have a podcast, and today we're going to talk about that, but also we're going to talk about your life, and I want our listeners to just kind of know the roadmap. And recently on my podcast, I've started not writing interview questions because I want the interview to feel natural, because every time I write questions, I'm kind of focused on my questions, or sometimes I miss what the listeners talk about. And like someone will be talking, and then I'm just thinking, what's the next question? What's the next question? Which I don't want. Like I want it to be just natural and flow and just get the questions from what you talk about. So that's what we're gonna do today. But just a little bit to tell you, we're going to talk about podcasting and how you find it, your podcast. And I want my listeners to know you and your podcast, and so they can support you. And like I said in the beginning, when I started my podcast, it was like my motto of the podcast was we rise by lifting each other. So, but yeah, now we got the part of your name, and you give us a little bit of your background. You told not your background. You give us a little bit of your dad's background, where he's from. So I want your background. Like if you say your dad is from, he grew up in Uganda. So how is your background like growing up? Just walk us through that.
Okay, starting with my parents. My mom is from Uganda. My dad is a mixture of a Murundi and a Munyarwanda, but they're both based here in Uganda.
Okay.
And then I was raised. I was raised from Masaka. Most of my time has been spent in Masaka. So I've grown up from Masaka. I speak Luganda because
okay, that's good.
So I speak Luganda. I don't know. I'm just trying to learn with other languages, but the language I'm not sure with is Luganda because I grew up from Masaka, and Ogende Buliamba. So, I think my parents had to adopt to the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Have you visited Rwanda at all?
Yeah, I have. Okay. But that was once. I did. Yeah. So naturally I'm a Muganda.
Okay.
Naturally I'm a Muganda. Though I don't have the clans and everything, but I know a lot of stuff about the Muganda culture.
Also, we'll tambula mungo Muganda.
Okutambula ngo Muganda, I can try. Amanya gange nze birungi Victoria. Ndi muwala wa Mpagazi. Abele Masaka. I failed.
Okay. I was just giving you a test.
Uganda, though. I don't know how I've forgotten, but
Okay. I was just testing you, but yeah, that's fine. I'll give you a pass on that.
yeah, I get a pass. Yeah, so I have 3 siblings. I'm the firstborn, so it's a lot of baggage on me right now. A lot of pressure as well. So, but yeah, basically that's it. I am at Uganda Martyrs University. I'm doing a course in education, and I'm in my final year. It all goes well. I should be graduating in November.
Okay.
So I'm on that road right now.
All right, I'm gonna take you back to the statement you just made. You're the firstborn, and it's a lot of pressure. What is it like to be the firstborn? Like, why do you even say it's a lot of pressure?
It's a lot of pressure because you really have to set an example for your younger siblings.
Yeah.
And you have to really think, you have to really rethink, or get to decide or think about things that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you want to, do something for yourself, and then you have to think of the consequences. But at times I let myself go and just be me, because you really can't be a perfect example.
Right.
And you're just human. Like I said, the pressure is still there because your parents have to tell your younger siblings, you have to be like so and so, you have to be like Vicky, she did this and this. Mm-hmm. So it makes you want to do more, not to look like a failure and stuff. So you try, you just try. All I can say is I'm trying. I'm trying, but it's not easy.
How old are your younger siblings?
Oh, there is one who is 17, and there is one who is 15. Another one is 11, 12, making 12.
All right. Are they boys,
so
girls?
The pressure is on. Yeah, the second born is a boy. The third one is a girl. The last one is a girl as well.
Okay. Yeah, the pressure is real. They're all like, at least they're all gonna be teenagers at some point. But yeah, I definitely understand. I won't say I can relate, because I'm the second born. We're only 2 boys. And so our age difference wasn't that bad. Me and my brother just 2 years apart. And so I looked up to him, but we're kind of like, at some point we were like twins, both of us impact each other in different ways. So you mentioned you were in Uganda Martyrs University.
Yeah.
But before you went to university, walk us through your education, primary and high school.
Primary, I was in Uganda Martyrs Primary School. It is in Masaka. I was there for my 7 years, and nursery too. Yeah, that was a good experience. That was a good experience.
Why do you say so?
I got a lot of experiences I can't really forget, like having to walk barefoot to class when they're stolen your slippers, having to keep katogo in peppers for tomorrow's breakfast. The one that you had for supper. Which other one is really basic? Oh, that the stories about the ghosts of Kalabanda. Saying that the school was built on graves. It was a lot.
I feel like every school was like that, though. Like, even at my school, we say those stories, like our school was built, like kids were saying, like our school was built on a graveyard.
I can't really finish the stories in my primary.
Do you think that experience has helped you? How has that helped you today? Like, when you look back and see you used to walk to school with barefoot, like because somebody stole your slippers. What are those things? How have those things taught you or shaped you today?
I think it has made me more tolerant with some bad experiences. Sometimes when I'm going through something very bad, I tend to compare myself to something way worse I had to go through. So it kind of consoles me. Then it makes me a little bit more patient. I learned how to be more patient because because definitely boarding school definitely had to get to your nerves. There was a lot of stuff you had to deal with. You don't have to call home. You can't call home. You have to sort out your issues on your own and wait till VD, and VD will be like once or twice in a term. It also taught me how to deal with my things, by myself, not having to always depend on parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you go to high school. Where did you go to high school? Uganda
My high school,
Martyrs?
I went to Trinity College in Nabingo.
Because primary you went to Uganda Martyrs, university you went to Uganda Martyrs. So I was assuming high school you went to Uganda Martyrs or whatever.
I went to Trinity College in Nabingo. It's on Masaka, Kampala Road, around close to Nsanji. Yeah, so I also spent there 6 solid years.
So you just went to two schools?
Yeah, 2 schools. I wasn't a stubborn kid.
Okay.
Okay, I was stubborn, not that stubborn. I made sure I maintained the same school. So I was there for solid years. And it was also a good experience. It being a single school.
What are the experiences you got in Trinity College?
Which ones can I name very quickly? The first time I got there, I didn't have very good English. I couldn't speak very good English. My English was that of Masaka. Masaka. Masaka English. It wasn't that good. I get to sit with kids from Kampala parents, city parents, kids from international schools, some kids from Kampala schools, and they were speaking very good English. It took me a while to blend in. It took me a while to blend in because of that fear, not having, you feel like you're not on the same level with the kids. So senior one was a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster. Anyway, I finally blended in, but also the change of environment, because with Nabingo, it was more of self-drive. And back then in my school, they had to push us, do this, do that. They used to cane us very, very, very hard. And then here it was more of you have to wake up, you have to wake yourself up, you have to do this and this. Be in class by this time. No one is going to push you. It took me a while.
Yeah, to adjust to that.
Yeah. And then also, I think the growth, the adolescence, I was getting into my teenage years. So a lot of changes, I think. And it was a great deal. It was my biggest time of change.
Since it was a single school, did you guys have the, single schools go and meet another single boys school and they do a party, and you guys get to do that? Tell me about that, because I never experienced it. I never went to a single school.
Oh my God. There was always a difference when there was, when the boys had arrived in school. You would get to know that the boys are now in school. The school would get so disorganized. Kids are making noise. There is that excitement. You could tell that there are boys in school. There's always a difference between excitement for boys and excitement for Kadanke. There was a difference. So whenever boys were in school, people would always want to dress, wear those short, go for short wrappers or short skirts. And then you want to moving up and down so the boys get to see.
So you can impress the boys.
See you. Yeah, you pay for functions worth 30,000 for just a day, just to go and be with the boys. Oh my goodness. And then wait for mail the next time. For example, if you get one and then you make some relations, you get to talk. People are always expecting you to receive mail the next day or the next week. So if you do not get, it definitely shows you've been dumped. It was a lot of saga. People fighting for boys. As much as it was a single school, that drama was also there.
Yeah. So did you guys
there.
know some of these
But
boys
yeah,
before they
I
came
like
to the
it.
school?
Yeah, some people had friends within. Some people had friends within those different schools. Some of us were church girls. I was a church girl.
Okay.
I was a church girl. Uh, I should say mostly my O level was dull. I didn't go for fun, so I was more of an observer.
Okay.
I was more of an observer. But yeah, people had friends within the schools, and then those who didn't have would would socialize. My most active part was in HSC. That was when I had the most active part of high school.
That's when you stopped being a church girl.
I was balancing both.
Okay.
I was balancing. I learned how to balance both.
Okay. So when we were growing up in Uganda, we looked at those schools as like one of the big schools, Mango, Trinity College, Nabingo, Wooddow. Like we knew the kids who go there are super smart. Like how were you able to come from Masaka to go into Nabingo?
Not to brag, but I think generally primary schools from Masaka had very good performers. Like
Really?
so Uganda Martyrs, Leo's, Bright. Yeah. Those schools, okay, I think we had to go through a lot. So we definitely had to produce them. We had to produce the marks.
Yeah.
But I got 8. I didn't get to the passing those passing aggregates they normally base on, like from 4 to 6. So I got, but of course I had to go for the benching and waking up early, with your parent, and then go sit there and then wait till you meet the head teacher several times until we let you in. And also the other trap was you must have put it as a first choice. So it was also at another that I wanted to go there, and I gave it a first choice. So I was finally considered.
Okay.
Yeah, but basically that was it. It's the marks that take you there. But that Kamani doesn't miss.
I know. I was gonna say maybe some people paid some Kamani.
Yeah, like some government, like some some kids that are the kids of MPs and whatever. They would find a way of getting in there in some way. You pay some ransom.
Yeah, but see, I mean, you said your grades were good. Those are some good grades. So you and putting it as a first choice, so that's something good. I know most of my American listeners are not gonna be able to understand what the heck we're talking about, but we're just talking about like school and how, because the system in Uganda, the way it works, you have to apply to the schools you want to go to. I mean, I think it's the same thing in America, but like ours, you go into grades and what school takes which people. I think in America, it's mostly the universities. So like there's some big universities where they will only take people who got this GPA or this. So that's what we're talking about. If anybody is listening and they feel lost on what the heck is going on. But anyway, so now you move from Nabingo, like you when did you decide I want to do education and you want to go to Uganda Martyrs University?
That journey was quite long. Having to get to a decision like that. About the university, it was definitely that my dad wanted me to go to Mkozi. He's a Catholic man, so definitely we didn't have to think. He didn't like. You don't have to think about it. It's just going to be that. And then most parents think that Makerere is not a serious university. So so the other side, that would be Nkozi. About the course, I can't say education was my first choice. It's not the first thing I thought of doing. It has been a roller coaster of dreams and changing to another dream. So when I started thinking I would be a doctor just like everyone else, everyone's dream of being a doctor.
Yeah.
And then I switched to accounting. My uncle is an accountant, and kind of gave me that journey of heading there, and who was willing to give me the support. So it kind of drove me to there. But I did MIA, so it would still drive me to accounting.
What is
And I
MIA?
didn't
For the
really,
listeners who don't know what MIA is.
it's math, economics, art. I did math,
Okay.
economics, art at E78. But my points didn't really get me there. Like I wouldn't get to do accounting. So the other choices were, there was industrial art, and then there was information and technology, and then there was education. And I had to sit down and think about all these decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Industrial art, yes, I had the passion for art, but the question was, what was I going to do when I get out of campus? Because definitely you need to get the connection. You need to have the connections, to do industrial art. So I had to think about it. Either have connections or you're going to start your own business. And I didn't really think or didn't really feel like having to go through university with all that money and then asking for capital at the same time again to start a business. So that was all. Then information and technology, I definitely wish I had gone for that.
I was gonna say that's why you were having a hard time with technology, because if you had gone for information and technology, you wouldn't have had a hard time starting the Zoom call.
Yeah. So I wish I had definitely gone for that, but I had less knowledge about it. And yeah, so I didn't choose it. And then there was education. And education as a teacher, when you get out, there is at least there will be a job. A low paying job maybe, but there will be a job. You definitely have somewhere to start from.
Yeah.
And I enjoy sharing knowledge and getting to learn from people. So I thought maybe, you know what, this won't be really hard and doing it. So I went for it. I went for education. That is how I ended up in education.
So do you, now that you've gone, you're almost graduating, do you think it's something you like, or do you regret it?
The journey has been hard. It has been definitely hard. The first time I got in, I definitely thought it's going to be something very easy. I thought education, all we had to do was restudy what we studied in high school. Like, I'm going to teach high school, so I'm going to learn high school things. Yeah. And then I get to the lectures, and then because I'm doing the combinations, I'm doing teaching subjects in economics and ICT. But when we reached to start learning, I'm seeing myself having to go in the BAM class, learning that extra economics. And then I'm also in the computer science class learning the extra computer. At one point, I asked these guys, are we really in the right class? Because these things look so hard, being education.
Yeah.
I was definitely, I sat down and asked myself, do I really want to do this education thing? And also the courses were so many. The courses of education are really so the course units, sorry, there are so many. And I thought to myself, if I really want to go on with this, I just have to, look for the passion. Definitely the start wasn't easy as well. I kind of got mixed feelings. Like I said, I would have known more about IT. And then I realized, maybe I would have done IT because more of the passion is there. I was willing to, get to know the knowledge about IT. But my thought was the job opportunities were less. Like, if I do IT, I'm going to just be a secretary, or like I said, there was limited information I had about it. I never thought IT had those big jobs,
Yeah.
So I get there and then I realized this thing really has a big deal. But I'm now in education. The whole studying process is a lot of work.
That's why I feel like high schools need to do a good job at doing the career training, like for somebody to come and explain to the kids, like, hey, this is what is this and this, because now you get stranded at the point, like there you just said you thought IT, you will only be a secretary or something, but then later on you realize like you could get a good job with IT. So if they had somebody for a career training to come to the school and talk to the kids about the possibilities of things they can do, you know, like it will make life easier. So so now you ended up being a teacher, and you hope you're gonna teach high school, right?
Yeah.
Have you tried, like, have you done any internships of like going to the school and teach? Have you done any teachings yet?
Yeah, I have done one. I was doing one in March. It was for 6 weeks, and it was a very good experience. It was a very
Okay.
good experience for me. All I can say is what I really focused on when I was in for that internship. I tried so much to give the students what I wasn't able to get when I was studying.
Mhm.
Like I tried so much to look for something new, something that I really wanted to get from my teachers back then, and I tried to give it to the students. I really hope that I did that, because this
Yeah.
is what I was focusing on during the internship. I don't think I got enough for my high school.
Yeah. I feel like teachers in nowadays, I don't know what year you graduated. I might have graduated a long time ago before you, because I graduated 2012 in high school. So, but like when I was going in high school, I feel like the teachers were more of, they wanted to create authority, like threat between the students and them, so we can respect them, instead of creating a relationship with the
Yeah,
students, so then we can feel more close to them, and that way it makes learning easier. But at that time the
yeah,
teachers were more like, they wanted us to be scared of them, which I don't think, in my own reason, like it helped a lot. I wish teachers were more like trying to build a relationship with the students, and that helps our learning better. What do you think about that?
yeah. I think it's a very good thing that teachers get to integrate with their students. I also had the same challenge. I didn't really have that relationship with my teachers. Maybe like a few, one or two or three, but most of them I didn't really get to have to interact with them, like sit down and freely tell them that this is the reason as why I'm not doing this and that. Well, they put that freedom, to get to interact with them, get to go to them for consultation. But the
Mhm.
environment, they didn't create that environment that would make us, feel comfortable, getting to them. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, like in a way, they didn't seem approachable. Yeah, they put those boundaries.
Yeah, I think that's definitely right, and I think that will improve actually the kids learning, or the students learning. Now, the other part, like I remember in high school, younger teachers got bullied a lot. How are you ready to deal with the high
Yeah.
school kids on that part? Especially, what high school are you teaching? Senior
Uh,
one or senior what class?
I was teaching senior one and senior five.
That's,
They gave
oh,
me senior one
senior.
and senior five. It was
Holy
a mix
cow,
school.
that's a big difference.
Yeah. And then I'm teaching a mixed school this time around. I'm from a single school having to teach a mixed school. So the experience is totally different. All I can say is the first time I got there, I was shaking, definitely shaking. Um, I'm not used to students, I'm not used to teaching, being the teacher. I'm not used I'm not used to being the center of attention. Definitely, as a new teacher, new student teacher, you're the center of attention.
Mhm.
The moment we got in, kids in classes were peeping to see who is passing by. My walking style changed. I was trembling, my legs were shaking. Kind of have to check yourself to see what's wrong with you. It was it was hard. The first day was really hard, and generally the experience was, yeah, some kids were, especially the boys. The boys
Yeah,
did me a lot. They did me a lot. We are from COVID. These are COVID kids. They are
mhm.
grown up kids. They're
Yeah,
grown up. In senior five, I had my classmates. In senior five, I had my age mates. You know, someone tells you, I'm 22, and you're like, huh? Like, you're like, well, I'm teaching my age range.
Yeah.
And yeah, more of like trying to flirt with some students, try to flirt with me. And then you have to, be polite, but at the same time, you need to put the boundaries as well. And then at the same time, you want to appear approachable. So it was a very complicated experience, but good at the same time, I should say. It gave me a lot to learn, more than what we do at the university. I got the bit of the medicine.
Yeah, it's always good when you go and do some hands-on, or like some go out in the field to just kind of try to do it. So yeah, we've talked a lot about your education, and actually your education and you being in education now. But the last part of this podcast, I wanted to talk about your podcast. So how did you get an idea to start a podcast, and what's the name of your podcast?
The idea of starting a podcast, first of all, it wasn't in my mind to start one. The journey was like this. I was supposed to begin a YouTube channel, but while starting a YouTube channel, I didn't have the good equipment to start the YouTube channel. The camera quality was so bad, everything was not working out. I didn't do a lot of the editing, so I gave up on the YouTube channel.
Because you didn't do IT.
And then after a while, I did. But the equipment, it required a lot of stuff to do. I mean, editing the videos, having, the ring lights and everything. I had no idea. All I saw was people are doing YouTube. I'm also going to do YouTube with that little knowledge. So I got off, and then I'm like, I've really given up on the content creation. And then some friend of mine advised me to, start a podcast. It's like, there's this thing I normally see. It's like a radio, but people are recording themselves. And maybe you could do that. You don't really have to show your face and have to use a lot of equipment. So I'm like, but what is that? Do I have to go to like an FM, like an FM station and request to record my sessions? And it tells me, no, it's like an app. It's like YouTube, but audio YouTube. So I'm like, oh, okay. So my journey began like that. And
who was telling you that?
It's called Nobert.
Okay.
He had like more information about about the apps. So I tried it out, and I liked it because I was more comfortable off camera. I am camera shy. I was more comfortable off camera. I could talk about anything I wanted because I was more free, that I could express myself. No one is watching me, so I can say what to say. Yeah, but that's how basically it started. My podcast is called In My Feelings Podcast. The reason behind the name, I can't really tell you, because I chose that because it could give me the
vibe,
the choice. Yeah, the vibe. Also, the choice to just post anything. I just post anything. I don't have specific topics about things. I just post anything I feel like. And since I was going to be a teacher, I needed that. I needed to, have that experience of having to talk and get used. So I think definitely that was the inspiration behind it. Yeah, sharing my nonsense and for people having to listen to it. People having to listen to it and like it.
It is nice that you chose to do that. I say kudos to people who step out and want to do like a podcast or something. It's not easy. It takes time, like to even find things to talk about. But I'm glad that you took that journey and like to do that. So you told me, I think a while back, how you ended up finding me. So like I want my listeners to know how did I end up knowing you and you finding me?
Okay, this was it. I woke up one morning and I'm like, that definitely has to be some other podcasters. I can't be the only person doing a podcast in Uganda, or a Ugandan podcaster. So I get my phone in the morning. I type in, podcasts in Uganda, and then it displayed. And the first person, it displayed was you. It was the Ugandan Boy Talk Show, the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. So I'm like, by the time this guy is coming fast, out of all these podcasts, I have to look for this guy. I have to look for this guy. So I tap in the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. It took me to the Google Podcast. I read it from the Google Podcast. And then I listened. Should I say binge listening? Binge listening, like 3 episodes. Just to hear what the content that you do have. So I binge listened to like 3 episodes and I liked it. And I liked the fact that it was more of African. You stayed, the composition was more of African. You're talking about Uganda, you're free speaking Uganda. And I'm like, okay. And then, that is when I followed you. And if I get to know someone, I'm going to go to Instagram, still look for you, still follow you, so that I can get more information. Secret stalking, I should say. But it was for a good purpose.
Yeah.
It was so perfect.
When I host people and they say internet is this is the guy, the Valas podcast. I hosted him. He's also from Uganda, and he said internet is the best thing that has happened to our generation, because like here we are, I'm having you on my podcast, but like 2 years ago, you didn't even know who Bonnie was. Like, is there even a Bonnie in the whole world? Like, I didn't know who Victoria was, but like through the internet, we connected. And now I was on your podcast a while back, and now you're on my podcast here talking about yourself and your dreams. And this is the whole purpose why I do these podcasts. Like, I don't really care if I host celebrities or not celebrities. What I care about is somebody to share a story for someone else to listen. Like, if people tap in today and listen to you talk about your journey from Masaka, like a kid from Masaka who is like, well, who wants to be a teacher? It'll be like, will I even ever make it? But then listening to your story, like you come from Masaka, sometimes you'd go to class without shoes, but now here you're following the dreams. And you got somewhere, like you went to Trinity College, those, I don't know if it's still today, but those schools, like when you hear somebody went to Trinity College, you can even sweep the floor for them till they can pass, because they're those are days. I'm from Mango, and like they all have like fancy. I'm from Trinity College, Wooddow, we were scared of you guys.
That is definitely still there. What should I call it? What should I call it? Okay, there is a way they put those, they try to displace at schools. They used to call them the grade 8 schools, I think. The likes of Smart, okay, all I can say that is still there. But basically, what I can appreciate about having to go to one of those schools is what I got to learn from such a school, the etiquette and everything. My English got better.
I can tell.
And the interaction, it was a good experience. I definitely learned a lot, more of outside class experience. Yeah, it was a good one.
All right, Vicky, I think we're at the end of the podcast. I really want to appreciate you for your time and for just being here and talking to me about your life and your dreams and your podcast. I'll ask you 2 questions. What gets you excited about life?
What gets me excited about life is waking up and just being better than yesterday, and having achieved some of the things that I never thought I could achieve, and basically that the achievements and being better than yesterday, and something you look forward to do the next day. Yeah.
That is nice. I say this almost all the time, but like they say, any day above ground is a good day. So like just being alive and waking up to another day to try again. So that's always nice. the other last question is, who would you like to see on my podcast? And you're gonna help me find that person so we can host him on the Ugandan Boy Talk Show.
Who would I want to be called to appear on the talk show?
Yeah, and you're gonna help me find them. Huh?
Oh, Navagre, I can't talk with Navagre. The other would be Norbert Lukwai. Okay. I want Norbert Lukwai to appear on your talk show. I definitely want him to appear on your talk show.
Is that the guy who told you about Anchor?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you're gonna help us find Norbert, and we host him here, and we can hear his story, and maybe he can tell us about his journey too. So yeah, Vicky, thank you very much for being on my podcast, and I had fun. I had fun listening to your story and laughing, and I'm glad you were laughing too. So it's always nice.
Thank you for the work that you do as well, inviting people and their stories. Thanks a lot. Some of us, it motivates our day. So thanks a lot for those. Yeah, it does. It does.
All right, thank you, Vicky.
Welcome. And also, sorry to hear about your accident, but I'm happy that you're also doing fine.
Yeah.
It must have been a rough experience, but good to know that you're back. And you're alive.
It was bad. I didn't want to talk about it. That's why most people didn't hear about it till like after 2 months of it. But yeah, I'm glad I'm alive now. All right. See you.
All right. See you. Thank you for hosting me.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hey there, I am Bonnie Kibuka, the host of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Thanks for watching my video, and don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time for a new episode about my podcast. And for more information about this podcast, follow me on my Instagram page, talk_show_256.